Thank you for joining us. My name is Adyanwar, Acquisition Editor at River Publishers. Today we are with Professor Pranila Rameshwar, Editor in Chief of International Journal of Translational Science, to discuss the 2024 Best Paper Selection, a theory of gravitational generation to mitigate space induced low gravity, relevance to premature aging in space, with one of its authors, Anish Rangdal from Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School. Professor Pranila, would you like to take the lead from there?
It was a very insightful paper that actually you had a foresight to foresee the future of where space medicine is going. So could you give us a synopsis? What was the impetus to devise this technology? But before you start, for the sake of the audience, can you, like in a few sentences, tell them just explain the technology?
Right. Um, yeah. So basically, the technology that I had developed in the paper is an artificial gravity generator that will basically be able to let astronauts live in space for as long as their body like allows them through a natural aging process. And this device was originally created by me and by many other scientists throughout history because we realized that in space, the human body does deteriorate very quickly and it goes through its natural aging process a lot faster. And we like to call this accelerated aging. Microgravity causes a host of health issues such as muscle atrophy, bone density loss, circadian rhythm disruptions, neuroocular complications. For example, the disconnection of the optical nerve that can actually make astronauts go blind in space. And the method that I had chose to use is called diamagnetic levitation, which is commonly found on Earth in bullet trains. That's how we are able to accelerate bullet trains from such a low speed, like zero, or where it's standing still, to such a high speed that could even pass the barrier of sound. And so if we use that same mechanism or that same concept and we put that in space and we use a diamagnetic material, which is what our bodies are susceptible to, it offers a non-mechanical way to stimulate gravity and, more importantly, the resistance to gravity that our bodies need to feel for us to make sure that we have or we keep our muscle mass, we keep our bone mass.
So, do you think the technology, your model is novel? Because you just said that the same technology is used in bullet trains. So, what make your technology novel?
Um, so the technology that I had made was something that wasn't explored in space. It's definitely been used on Earth for a lot of other applications. And I know that there was one paper in, I believe, the Netherlands, where they took a frog and they used a diamagnetic material to actually levitate this frog. So it's the same concept that I had used in space that had been performed once before. But this is a new focus of artificial gravity. There have been other demonstrations of it being used, such as in the Apollo missions, where we use something called centrifugal rotation. And that has been tried and proven to work in space. But the problem with that is that you need large structures or extremely high rotation speeds. And those both pose serious engineering and safety challenges too. And while basically charging an electromagnet with a lot of power is a safety concern, that is much easier to control than just spinning something in space at very high speed. Yeah.
Yeah. But so how is this? How would this be? I know you're at the beginning of this of devising this model, and I see a future for you in this. But how do you envision this will actually be applicable in a spaceship? Is it going to
Yeah.
need a lot of and will it interfere with other things?
So the model itself is an electromagnet, and the principles of an electromagnet are that in order to increase the amount of field inside an electromagnet, you either increase the number of turns or you increase the amount of power. So basically, you change the geometry. So if you are limited in space, you increase the number of turns in the coil. But if you have a lot of space, you can just make the coil a whole lot bigger, and that would be able to vary the field inside that our bodies would be able to feel that gravity. And for sure, the only other limitation that I know of when I did my analysis is that you can't necessarily bring another metal type into the field, as that would cause a disruption in the array.
Mhm. Okay, but Anish, part of the goal of this journal is to take these innovative ideas and see how it could be translated to public health, right, and
Right.
safety. So we can't experiment on human. We're going to
Right.
have to do some animal work. So how do
Yeah.
you envision this could happen?
Oh, so right now, currently, the International Space Station is in operation till 2030. And I had proposed this experiment when I was still young and building this paper, is that you get a small vacuum and you build your electromagnet in that vacuum. And then, as you would say, you do a like a mice study, and where you'd send the mice and you'd send this small gravity generator into space, and you would first test it on a smaller scale, and then after it cleared that, you go into a larger scale, and then hopefully you would be able to work on humans too.
So, Anish, I know you want to do aerospace engineer and hopefully some mechanical engineer, etc. But you
Right.
also have biomedical research experience.
Yeah.
Do you think you could be involved in this in the long term because you have that unique interdisciplinary background now that you're building?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you foresee yourself getting in, I mean, hands-on with this?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you are, you will be an engineer. And
Mhm.
also, do you step back and let the biological people do it, or do you want to be involved with it, do you think?
No, of course, I'd love to be involved in every part of this research. I think that the paper does touch on a very interdisciplinary field involving both, as you said, aerospace engineering, biomedical engineering, space science, and I think that especially for other parts of in the like the space research, that cross-disciplinary collaboration is very essential for this type of research. And if like research itself is the research that I did had integrated biology to understand the problem that was presented, that okay, human bodies are aging faster in space. How do we stop this and how do we slow it so that we can eventually go to Mars and back without worrying that our bodies are going to deteriorate? And how I used physics for the electromagnet design itself, and space science for the practical application, that okay, now we can send astronauts to live in space for however long their bodies are going to allow them to live, like how they would on Earth. Um, yeah.
This is exciting, Sadia, this is really exciting. Kari, here we have this young kid who has this amazing ideas, and this is what we need. We need these trainees to really come up with innovative ideas that could translate for the future of what's being planned. Because everyone is talking, I'm going to Mars, I'm going to Mars, but you can't just send human to Mars without some safety issue. And I know this is a small part, but I think we need to keep an eye on Anish. I think he's going to do big and wonderful things. Thank you so much, Anish.
I just wanted to ask Professor Pranila, would you like to share any thoughts about the paper in general or also about the journal?
The whole goal of the journal is to take all the science and see how it could be translational. It doesn't have to be a clinical trial. So we have it's a platform for people to have even new ideas, and we're open to innovative ideas because I think a lot of what I've seen as in my career in academia, out of the box ideas suppressed by science and scientists, and the journals fall into line. And I think I want to break that. And so someone like Anish who come up with this, it was a perfect forum for our journal to show, look, here's an innovative ideas, and other people can read it and see, here is an idea. Maybe they have other method of doing this, but it's like I want it to be the root. This paper could be the root of bigger things.
With that, congratulations once again, Anish, and thank you everyone for joining us for this podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Anish.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Dr. Moore. Thank you, Sadi, for having me.